Hello, BookTube. Welcome back to my channel. My name is David, and today we have a continuation of the library tour. Yes, that's right, the third installment in our library tour. I was going to make a video on the next 5 chapters of the Two Towers tonight, but I'm just worn down, and I need something nice and simple. And so I figured this is the perfect opportunity to do something like this. So we are in the midst of Isaac Asimov. We will get to the end of him before the end of this video. So we have The Stars Like Dust. So this is a Galactic Empire novel, a precursor to the classic Foundation series. So this one I have read, and I loved it. Loved it. Strongly recommend. Someone was trying to kill Byron Farrell, just as someone had murdered his father, and behind that threat lay all the might of Tyran, the ruthless, barbaric empire that was ravaging and absorbing all the nebular kingdoms. He fled from Earth into space seeking sanctuary, but all he found was betrayal and the need to flee again, into further betrayal. Now Byron was being forced to become a betrayer. Somewhere there was a rebellion world, and he was sure he knew the location, but he was in the hands of Eratap, powerful autarch of Tyran, and he must either betray the woman he loved or the rebellion world that offered the only hope of the future. So, fantastic. Unfortunately, like another, I think it was an Asimov, the Robot series, I go from book 1 in a series to book 3 in a series. There is, between these, the Currents of Space. But I do have the Pebble in the Sky, which is book 3. So if I ever get the Currents in Space, I will read that and then jump to this one. I mean, these are not very long. This is under 200 pages. And I imagine just as good as that first one. We have another one that I've read, Lucky Star and the Rings of Saturn. So this was him writing as Paul French. This is the last of the Lucky Star books, but they are not necessarily needed to be read sequential. Kind of a pulpy science fiction book. Lucky Star, a plucky hero in his misadventures in space. This was a lot of fun. I actually had an extra copy of this that I had sent along to Michael K. Vaughn. I don't think he's read it yet, but I do look forward to him reading it at some point in time and talking about it. I enjoyed it enough that clearly it has stuck around. So it says here, the twin rings of Saturn were suddenly swarming with the robot ships of the deadly Sirian enemy, the avowed antagonists of Earth. They had crossed 50 trillion miles of space to provoke a war which they knew they could not lose, for the awesome forces of Earth dared not rally against the invaders. Only Lucky Star of Earth's Council of Science had a chance to avert the impending galactic holocaust. But one slip-up in his daring plan would mean certain death, and a place in history as Earth's most infamous traitor. So I enjoyed this. I would gladly read the other Lucky Star books, but I'm not necessarily seeking them. If I find them at a good deal, I certainly would pick them up after the 500 book challenge. Now we have something a little different. This is The Stars in Their Courses by Isaac Asimov. See there, picture of him there. It says, Isaac Asimov once described himself as a professional explainer, and this collection of essays displays the quick wit, the lucid style, and the encyclopedic knowledge that have made him the foremost practitioner of the art and the study of the Earth and the universe. Where does astrology come from? Can any particle travel faster than light? Are there flaws in the theories of Immanuel Velikovsky? Isaac Asimov tackles these and many other absorbing questions with the flair and erudition that have made him world famous. So, interesting book. I'm not sure how well I'll get along with it. But you can see here, it's broken into 4 sections. Astronomy, physics, chemistry, and sociology. So he's got 17 different essays in here. Should be an interesting read, to say nonetheless, regardless of what I encounter. Robot Visions had some essays in it too. So we have The Martian Way and Other Stories by Isaac Asimov. A killer planet that destroys its inhabitants. Life on Mars threatened by a water war with Earth. spacemen who invade the bodies of people on other planets. These are just a few of the amazing situations in this wonderful collection of adventures into the future by a master of science fictionist. So, there we go. Let's see. There's no table of contents. So we'll have to see what is in here as we're reading through it later. Definitely would be happy to read it. Next we have a newer Asimov, I think. One of the newer ones compared to whatever else I've got here. This is Nemesis. I remember owning this book at some point in time during my teen years. I don't think I ever read it. If I did, I don't remember anything about it. Let's see, this came out in 1989, 1990. So yeah, I'm curious about this. In the 23rd century, pioneers have escaped the crowded Earth for life in self-sustaining orbital colonies. One of the colonies, Rotor, has broken away from the solar system to create its own renegade utopia around an unknown red star 2 light years from Earth, a star named Nemesis. Now a 15-year-old Rotorian girl has learned of the dire threat that Nemesis poses to Earth's people, but she is prevented from warning them. Soon, she will realize that Nemesis endangers Rotor as well, and soon it will be up to her alone to save both Earth and Rotor as, drawn inexplicably by Nemesis, the Death Star, they hurtle towards certain disaster. Sounds interesting. This is one of the bigger ones. And, yeah, I look forward to getting to that eventually. So far, I don't think there's anything that's getting kicked out. And now we have one that is edited by Asimov, Martin Harry Greenberg, and Charles G. Waugh. So these are stories beyond the boundaries of the universe. Starships. It says, a dazzling fleet of starships glide with Robert Sheckley on a search to recover your earthly memory and potential. Travel with A.E. Van Vogt on a voyage that bends the rules of space and time into far astonishing new shapes in Far Centaurus. Join Frank Robinson on a journey to bittersweet new Earth and the oceans are wide. Touch down with Isaac Asimov in a ceremony of last rites that invokes the great cosmic chain of being and Founding Father. Race with James McConnell against a terrifying ultimatum set by all-powerful aliens in avoidance situation. All the excitement's in getting there. Sounds really good. We've got 3 more to go to get through this 10. So we have 50 short science fiction tales with introductions by the editors, Isaac Asimov and Groff Conklin. You visit a world where robots strain to remember the existence of the men who created them. Hear the tantalizing brief report of a man who returns from a trip to the future. See the snake-armed thing that emerges from the mind of the people who conjure it. You meet a souvenir hunter in the 30th century and a schoolgirl who tries to cope with the teaching methods of the 22nd century. You share the terror of an astronaut in a haunted spacesuit and the dilemma of a wife whose husband knows a common chemical formula for destroying the Earth. In short, you feel the impact, the originality, and the uncanny atmosphere created by these science fiction experts not once, but 50 times. And to have 50 short stories in 285 pages. These are short stories. You'll be curious to see that. So we finally move away from Asimov. I've got a fair amount of Isaac Asimov to read. So now we have Brian N. Ball, who's going to bring us to the end, because I've got 2 by Ball. So this is The Regiments of Night. A dead empire's vengeance can wait 1,000 years. That's a nice little cover. So it says here, beneath the Earth's shattered crust, does the Black Army still wait? After 1,000 years of defeat, is the Black Army still strong? Inside their lost underground stronghold, is the Black Army on the march? Archaeologists considered the legend superstition and looked only at the surface ruins. Tourists regarded the tales as travel ads to glamorize burnt-out worlds. Robots believed only what they saw, and none had ever seen such an army. But when a combination of all three tripped the alarm by accident, they found reality turned suddenly into nightmare as the Black Army awoke to march against the universe. And then, last but not least, we have Sundog. So, the captive human race. An unthinkably vast, invisible, and absolutely impenetrable screen imprisoned man within the solar system. Cut off from the stars, men applied their ingenuity to themselves, setting up a world of total control where even dreams were programmed. That sounds pretty interesting, doesn't it? So, there you go. There is the 10 in the tour. $10 at a time. We're going to keep on marching right through. We'll probably get another tour or two this weekend. And stay tuned, because at the end of this month, I'm going to wrap up what I read in January and February. I realize I missed my mark for January, so I'm going to talk about that and February all at once, probably middle of next week, if I'm lucky. We'll see how it goes. So I've got some fun things to talk about, some fun tour videos to make. We'll catch you later. Thank you, BookTube.